Hi class, my name is Alice Jones and I will be teaching literature. Our topic today is reading aloud confidently and reading and appreciating poetry. The next slide talks about the introduction. It is legitimate to expect that more and more African students will be introduced to poetry through the work of their own poet. This is a development in the right direction, for though poetry speaks a universal language, it is natural that at least in the early stages, one come directly into enjoyment and appreciation of literature that deals with one's own environment, fears, joys, and way of life. A poet always has something to say. It might be a straightforward statement about a subject of public interest, or it might be an expression of a private problem, joy, or interest. A poet tries to communicate meaning, and perhaps the first effort a reader makes is to extract the statement, the theme of the poem. But it's not a subject matter alone that makes poetry. Our next slide is recommended text. This is the first step to take when embarking on the task of reading aloud and appreciating poetry. Choose appropriate reading materials with interest plot, dialogue, which also entails suspense and adventure. You can provide 4 to 5 books and ask the student to vote for one. For instance, poetry is divided into African and non-African. It will be of interest to place them orderly. Under African poetry, we have the vanity, we have piano and drums, the panic of growing older, the dining table, the ivory and armor, the ambush. Our next slide is non-African poetry. Under non-African poetry, we have the pulley, breeches, the schoolboy, the proud king, crossing the bar, shall I compare thee to a summer's day. At the start of reading aloud section, show the cover and read the title and author and the illustration of the books. For instance, poets of French expression will be considered here as a pointer to the fact one among them is vanity. Vanity is written by Birago Duke, and this is under African poem. This will enable us to beam our searchlight on the way and manner to obtain confidence while reading the work of poetry. This can be achieved on a comfortable time. Read the poem slowly. Watch the length of the story with the children's attention. Read a poem over a public address system each morning. The next slide is the biography of Birago Duke. The next slide also is the poem. By the time we go through the poem, we understand what we are saying or talking about. The next slide is the established theme and analysis. The central idea in the poetry, in other words, theme is what a story is all about. The sum total of the idea of it comes. We have the explore language. We have focus on fact. We have game of poem with focus on reading happenings. We have set a scene. And we have the inspired writing. New perspective. Provide pleasure. Capture the character. Our next slide is the conclusion. Without fear and contradiction, reading aloud confidently, appreciating poetry is by employing poeticism, which involves using extravagant language to influence the reader's mind through dramatic poetry or devices like dialogue, monologue, etc. to put across its messages. You must be ready to work for our enjoyment and our mental and emotional development. Our next slide is the assignment, which is the questions, and expect answers from you all. Question number 1 says, Nest is to bird what house is to man. This statement is an example of dash. A stanza or poem in which all the lines end in same rhyme is called dash. A poem intended to be staged by one poem is dash. A line of verse having the complete number of syllables in the last foot is said to be dash. That will be all for today. I expect every one of you to subscribe to our EduForce TV for more educational subjects and videos. Thank you very much.